Welcome back to another episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Once again, thank you for coming through to episode 156 of the Purple Rain Podcast. The Josh Bynes episode. I believe the Tavares Gooden episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. This is I'm trying to think off my head. I think those are the two I got. But yeah, thank you for coming through. There has been a lot that's happened since we last spoke. Mainly bad. No, it's probably all been bad, to be honest. There's been really nothing good that's happened. But thank you for coming through to the stream. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow this guy on Instagram, on Twitter at Sundef. You can follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on Twitter at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. You know, if you were watching UFC this past weekend, which I hope a lot of you did, great card.
Yeah.
Manscaped. You see it on there. Let's talk about it a little bit. Great products, fantastic. I'll actually be using it really soon for this. Can't wait. But yeah, they have the new, what is it?
The beard hedger.
The beard hedger, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking the lawnmower. Like that's like the OG, the lawnmower. But
it is.
Hedger,
yeah.
I don't use the beard. I only got a beard to use it. So you do. You can talk about it.
I mean, you know what? I also did not know until today. They actually also have what they call the Weed Whacker 2.0. And their new beard line confirms that they have all the best tools for your hygiene toolbox. So it's time for you to upgrade, right? It's time for you to upgrade your game by going to manscaped.com and using our code PRP and save 20% off plus free shipping, like my guy Alex said. So we appreciate you guys if you go ahead and do that for us and, for yourself too,
Yes.
But we're going to go ahead and kick this episode off with a super chat donation. Our guy Chike coming in hot. Listen, guys, let's like the video. Let's go ahead and like the video. Let's get that out of the way right here, right now. I'm already liking this. Chike, we love you. We appreciate your super chat donation. He says, can we actually discuss how disgraceful this organization actually is? People say, oh, the Baltimore Ravens are the best organization in football. We have a big problem with the media in this country. Alex, you want to speak to that?
All right. So actually, I don't know. Like I made a video on this. I said the Ravens are in disarray. It's not often when I sit down right at this desk, turn on this mic, and talk about my feelings for the Ravens on my main channel, but I had to. Last offseason, I don't know if anybody, if you watch it, I'm sorry for repeating myself. Steve Bisciotti said in like a Wired, he's like, with the culture, like every time you do something off the field, it chips away at our culture. And he wanted no drama, and I kept stressing no drama because this whole offseason has literally been drama. Even during the season, drama. Lamar didn't travel. Lamar didn't do this. Lamar is wearing this brand, so it means he's not with this brand. Like it's been drama everywhere, and it started honestly in the beginning of the season. I'm right there with you. It is very disgraceful where we're at. And then with the whole Steve Saunders stuff, you have multiple guys coming out saying that this guy basically ruined their career. Matt Judon, All-Pro, Pro Bowler, saying that this guy should have been fired. Him telling Carl Davis that he's going against him because has this guy working out, doing the same workouts as somebody who is fully healthy when this guy just came off of an injury. Like, that's disgraceful. And then hearing about Quincy Adebayo, who literally tore his quad off the bone, was very disgusting. So I agree, disgraceful is a great word, Chike. But your thoughts?
I can get behind that. Now, I don't think that the Ravens are a terribly run organization. I mean, just in comparison to a lot of other franchises out there who have been in poverty-stricken for years. I consider us to have 2 Super Bowls in 26 years. That's pretty damn good. So obviously the organization does something right. But I will say, as of late, I think that there was a turn of the century when it comes to football. I would probably say after we won our Super Bowl, things started to kind of shift a little bit. Games started moving more towards high flying offenses, and that's just not what we are. It's never what we've been. So with that being said, the Ravens have kind of failed to make adjustments over the years. So it's led to a lot of built up and pent up frustration, which, is displayed by our guy Chike right here and by all of us, quite frankly, because it is frustrating what we've been through as Ravens fans. And I know that, listen, if you're not a Ravens fan and maybe you're a fan of the Jets or you're a fan of the I don't know, the Dolphins or something
Jags,
like that,
Lions,
Jags, where it hasn't been so great for so many years, and you
Browns.
might think I sound spoiled right now, but um, the thing that upsets Ravens fans the most, and again, what I think upsets Chike the most too, is the fact that the Ravens have been so close, you know, so close yet so far, and that's the most frustrating thing in the world, for us as fans. So I can definitely say that the media think, like all the big wigs, right? The big wigs in the media, they all think that the Ravens are a top tier organization. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, from
Yeah.
the ownership to the coaching, all the way down. I mean, they will praise Harbaugh to death. But us as fans, we kind of see, like, what's really going on. So I
And
get what you're saying, GK.
I love how you brought up the point how the media, because there's one person in particular in the media, not a male, a lovely lady by the name of Joy Taylor,
Oh,
who
I love Joy
said,
Taylor.
did you see what she said about the Ravens? Oh,
She says a lot about the Ravens. What'd she say?
she said the Ravens, it's like they're like a resume. Like it's everything they've done in the past. How when you think of them, you think of
Yeah.
that clip. I wish we could pull it up. We would get taken down. But if you look up Joy Taylor Ravens, and she basically says how we're living off of the past, and I really couldn't agree with that more. How
Mm.
when you think of the Ravens, you think of Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs. That's the past. Like the future is now. When you think of the Ravens, now you think of Lamar Jackson. Pretty simple. Who else do you think of? Not many active guys. And I really just she hit the nail on the head, because the way we're being ran now, I mean, it's not as good as it used to be. The whole buddy system, we know about that. I think John Harbaugh, like, as long as Steve Bisciotti's there, it's hard to say his seat will get hot. We know it was hot before, but I think it's time for him to go. I mean, if Lamar goes, and Harbaugh can go too. I mean, there's no point in keeping him, in my opinion. Have a whole
Might as well just clean
new
house. Yeah.
quarterback. That's what I'm saying. Already got a new offensive coordinator. I mean, it won't happen. And maybe I'm being too reactionary, which that happens a lot. But just think, when you think about it in perspective, like, what's the point of having a whole new quarterback and just keeping the old guys? Because the same thing's going to happen. Same
Right.
results.
No, definitely agree with you there. And again, thank you so much, Chike, for your super
Thank
chat
you.
donation. All right.
What a
Our
way to
guy
start off the
Kate.
show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Chike with the early on super chat donation. Our guy K Dog, Mod K Dog, that is to you. Says smash that damn like button. Yeah, I mean, he
Yes.
absolutely hits the nail on the head. So hit that like button on the thumbs
Yeah.
up. You guys know where it's at. We appreciate it. Quony in here says, "What's up, Rain Gang? What's
What's going
going on?"
on?
I gotta bring up the Rain Gang in the chat. Yolanda's in the house. Says, "Good evening, Rain Gang." Good evening, Yolanda. Brent is in the house as well. Says, "What's up, fam? What's going on, Brent?" Let me see what else we got in here. All day Esco says, "Oh yeah, we're live." What
Yes.
up,
Indeed we are.
PRP? Yes,
Indeed
we
we are.
are. We are. Lisa Ann is in the house. Says, "Hey, Alex and Sutton Def. Lamar Jackson needs to sign a long-term contract with the Ravens. I wish. I hope.
Yeah,
Yeah,
long time no see, Lisa. Long time
yeah,
no see.
yeah.
Speaking, I mean, we can get right into it, get it out the way. Speaking of
All right.
this contract, I know Jacina Anderson. No, I think Jacina Anderson or Tom Pelissero. They announced that Eric DeCosta was in Miami, talking to Lamar. They didn't get a deal. With that being said, that they said we our best offers on the table right now. We don't know what that is. We don't know the numbers. But basically, the ball's in Lamar's court right now is what it sounds like. Like I said, we don't know the numbers. But with Derek Carr signing today for, I think, 4 year, 150, with Geno Smith signing literally like an hour ago for 3 years, 105, um, Lamar definitely is probably looking at 50 mil plus a year is what I think. I mean, just seeing their numbers, what you thinking?
I mean, I can get with that for sure. I mean, I think the big thing about Derek Carr and Geno Smith's contract, and I'm not saying this to say that they can even hold a torch to Lamar Jackson, but neither of their contracts were guaranteed fully. They were not fully
Yeah,
guaranteed.
yeah,
Now Derek Carr's contract was, I believe, the number was 66% fully guaranteed, which is not a bad number, but it still comes in at less, well, more guaranteed money than what the Ravens were offering Lamar, based off of what we heard the offers were. So a little bit of leverage kind of goes both ways. You know, it wasn't a fully guaranteed contract, so the Ravens can use that against Lamar. And also, they didn't offer Lamar Jackson as high of a percentage of guaranteed money as Derek Carr, so Lamar can kind of use that and say that, hey, I'm better than Derek Carr, which he is. So I think that you know, I'm glad we're just going ahead and hopping right into this, and then I guess we'll talk about the other thing afterwards.
Yeah.
But Ozzie Newsome came out today, right?
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Today?
Wizard of Oz, yeah. He came out and said that, so over the next 24 hours, they are going to be trying to get a deal done with Lamar Jackson. They are going to put a lot of time, energy, effort, and resources over the next 1 days, right? And I put the S with a parentheses on it. 1 days. They're going to try to get this done. It's been 2 years. It's been 2+ years and they haven't been able to get it done. I don't know what the hell they're going to do in the next 24 hours that they have not been doing in the last 700 days. But I don't get it. You know, you might as well just tag him now. They said that if they can't get a deal done by 3:30 tomorrow, they're going to tag him. Now, the question is, which tag are they going to put on him? Are they going to put the non-exclusive or are they going to put the exclusive? Of course, the non-exclusive, for those of you guys who don't know, Lamar Jackson will make $32 million from the Ravens this year. Do we get an alert?
We got some news. Ian Rappaport. He says the Ravens are trying, but a deal for quarterback Lamar Jackson doesn't appear on the horizon. It'll be the tag. There it is.
Yeah. So pretty much confirming what Ozzie said earlier. Now, this is interesting. It's very interesting. My knee-jerk reaction to what you just said, Alex, is the fact that Eric DeCosta just left Florida, you know, and left a deal on the table in Florida to just sit with Lamar.
Yep.
And Lamar and his mother, his team, his camp, whatever, has obviously turned that deal down. Yep. And I would think that was probably a last-ditch effort from Eric DeCosta, you know? So, I mean, I think it just kind of damages the relationship more and more. Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like the sound of this at all.
Honestly, I'm putting a 25% chance he's back. I was probably at 50-50 a week ago. After that, I mean, it's hard to see him coming back. And I've just this is like the last ditch effort. This is like the relationship that's on the ropes, and you know you're getting flowers and chocolate. I mean, it's hard to change their mind at this point. It's be real hard,
right?
And I think that's where we're at. I really do. Especially, you know, I had a little bit of hope for the contract. I didn't think it was going to happen, but that's a sliver of, you know, anything can happen. But this now, I think it's hard.
I think this kind of tells you. And when we're talking about, is it going to be the non-exclusive or is it going to be the exclusive? I think this little tidbit of information kind of leans us more towards the non-exclusive side. Because I think that, you know, with the Ravens putting that last-ditch effort or offer, rather, out on the table for Lamar and him turning that down, they're probably going to fire back at him and say, okay, we'll put the non-exclusive tag on you. Let's see who else wants to pay how much you're asking for, you know, and try to do it that way.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I think you get 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
They got for number 4 in Cleveland. They got 3. I'm sorry, Lamar Jackson is a much better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I'm not gonna have that conversation right now. I've seen what Lamar can do, and I've watched that sicko in Cleveland. Lamar, much better. I'm not gonna talk about that. So if we get 2 and they got 3, I'll pack Eric DeCosta's bags for him because you're doing your job very poorly if you can only get 2 for him. I don't want it to be that way, but
that's what it's looking like. Let's see. Yolanda says the non-exclusive tag is too risky for the Ravens.
I think having your quarterback without a contract for the past couple of years has been risky, but we've been letting it go.
Yeah, man, and I mean, like, because like I said before, the non-exclusive tag, Lamar Jackson would be owed $32 million from the Ravens this season. The exclusive tag would mean that Lamar Jackson is owed $45 million from the Ravens cap. So I think that Yeah, I agree with you when like saying that the non-exclusive tag is a little bit too risky because you definitely have some desperate teams out here who will just throw the bank at Lamar, and the Ravens will not be able to match that offer. And I know they won't want to match that offer. So yes, it's risky, but and you know how much they love their draft picks. I think that Eric DaCosta has had a sit-down conversation with Steve Bisciotti one-on-one and saying, "Hey, look, I'm at peace with moving Lamar if it means that
Yeah,
we can get 2 draft picks. I have confidence that I can get another guy and we can run this thing back, you know?
man. If
I-
it's two, they're gonna. Yeah, that's not enough. I'm sorry. Two, two for them. I know three is probably I think fair, but come on now, they're crazy. So yeah, I think it'll be nice. I think they're gonna play that game.
But
I'm right
why
there with
put
you.
the exclusive tag on him for 45 million if you don't necessarily want to pay him in the first place?
Yeah,
Like I mean,
yeah.
he's going to be if he signs a deal, we're looking at maybe like 50 million a year or something like that. So 45 million a year is not too far off. So I think that they will probably go ahead and slap the non-exclusive franchise tag on him. If somebody offers up a boatload of money for him, I think that they will take that. They won't match that offer, and they will receive those 2 first-round draft picks because we know how much they love their draft picks. So,
Yep, yep. So we're gonna go back to offense being bottom half. This should be fun. Oh boy, yeah.
yeah, it's a lot to take in as a Ravens fan, especially this is such a bizarre situation because this typically does not happen, right?
No.
So when your quarterback is clearly one of the best talents in this league, one of the most unique talents in the league as well, those
Why
deals get
us?
done like that, you
Why
know?
us?
Like take Josh Allen, for example. Josh Allen's deal got done under the radar. Nobody even really knew about it. They knew their guy, they knew they wanted him, and they locked him down for what, X amount of years. Ravens
Patrick
didn't want to
Mahomes
do that.
got $500 million on a random summer day in 2020. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was at the Columbia Mall. I'll never forget. Patrick Mahomes got $500 million. I was like out of nowhere, and they
Yeah.
yeah.
So Yolanda follows it up by saying this is embarrassing. Devon says extremely, Yolanda, extremely. Nathaniel says Commanders, Jets, Dolphins, Falcons. Don't have too much faith in EDC unless Ozzie is picking, and that's still risky. Get ready for 6-11. Ooh. See, I mean, the Commanders, Jets, the Dolphins, and the Falcons, they all might be in the market for a quarterback, you know?
And the Dolphins will probably be sending Tua our way if they were to make a deal with us.
Oh, can you
Um,
imagine? No, I don't even want to actually.
I mean, I don't want to talk about it, but the quarterbacks on the free agency market. I mean, if we got a first next year and talking about Caleb Williams, I wouldn't hate that. Local boy coming back. I mean, Jimmy G for a year is up in the. I mean, that's a possibility. I don't want to talk about this. I really don't.
Oh man.
We'd have
Jimmy G
model
for a
Jimmy
year
G.
really wouldn't be all that bad
We'd
though,
have
to
them.
be
I
honest
mean,
with you.
he got to the NFC Championship a couple of times,
Yeah,
the Super Bowl. He's a game
right.
manager. Have a handsome fella at quarterback, going from one handsome guy to Lamar to one handsome guy in Jimmy G. I wouldn't hate it.
I,
Jimmy G on the Royal Farms commercials. Who says no?
Jimmy G, like, I mean, you think about it, what's the difference between us and the 49ers, the Ravens and the 49ers? Not a
Talented
whole lot,
offensive coaches.
but not a whole lot though. Like you look at the 49ers, they're good pretty much consistently, just like we are. You know, they may not always be able to make the deep run or whatever, they always end up, falling short one way or another. But they're pretty solid, like regardless of like who's playing at quarterback. Even with Tyler Huntley and backups this season, we were still decent, like but that's mainly because of our defense, right? 49ers also have a really good defense, so there's some similarities between us and them. So I don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo coming to the Ravens for a year, like on a year rental, that wouldn't be a bad thing. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I'll say that.
Yeah, the worst thing in the world, I think, is throwing Tyler Huntley back out there. I love him. We share a birthday. But I think Yeah, I need a starter in the NFL. Yeah, they do have better coaching, much better. And I look at it, we are similar in the fact that we both get decimated by the I word at the worst time. They were
Yeah.
down to their third string quarterback. They had Josh. They had XFL legend, USFL legend. He was playing in football leagues that went down. I forget what the one was that Johnny Manziel played in. The
Oh,
American
the
football.
FCF, the fan controlled football league. Is that the one?
No, it was the one. It was I forget what. I know Mike Singletary was a coach there. Josh Johnson played in that. Like they had him play. I mean, yeah. Uh, they can develop receivers though. They got Ayuk and Debo, and we still can't even develop first rounders. So
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, like, in terms of relative success, we're kind of similar to the 49ers. Now,
yeah. To your point, like Brent.
all right. So let's go ahead and switch gears here. We talked at length about Lamar Jackson. Obviously, there should be some news coming down the pipeline within the next 24 hours or so. We just got word that it's more than likely going to be the tag. Now the question remains, which tag? What type of tag is it going to be? So we will be on standby waiting for that. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. You'll get all the updates on that. I'm sure as soon as it happens, there will be like a YouTube short out or something like that on our channel. So make sure that you check us out there. And also remember, like this video, guys. Please like this video. We'd appreciate it. Helps us out a ton. All right, let's shift gears. The Ravens are also eyeing Allen Lazard. News came out today that the Ravens are looking at him as a potential candidate to be on their receiving corps. Alex,
Yeah.
what was your knee-jerk reaction to this?
Did you hear about the quote that somebody said?
No.
So it was really weird. So the Ravens and the Chiefs are interested in him, and one of the sources, this could be Ravens, could be Chiefs. They hear the phrase on Allen Lazard that my nipples are hard for Allen Lazard.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
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 If your nipples get hard for Allen Lazard, you're watching the wrong receivers, bro. All right. My nipples get hard for DeAndre Hopkins. All right. Devontae
Exactly.
Adams.
That's what I'm saying. If
Hill.
if your nipples get hard for 788 yards and 6 touchdowns, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that that's going to be. Now, listen, I will say this. The one reason why I wouldn't hate it, and this is, I think I was telling you this before we went live, like, if the Ravens are to either put the franchise tag on Lamar, or let's say they miraculously get a deal done, and the cap is automatically affected, right? Yes, it's not going to be quite as easy to go out and maybe sign a DeAndre Hopkins or get somebody like a big name, Allen Lazard, I mean, decent productivity in his NFL career. I mean, he's got the size. He's 6'5". That's taller than any receiver that we have. I mean, I think our tallest receiver, premier wide receiver right now, Rashad Bateman, he's 6'2". 6'5" for Allen Lazard. I mean, Lamar loves his bigger target. So I wouldn't hate that, and who knows what he could do, maybe getting schemed up by Todd Monken in this new offense, whatever that looks like. But again, I hate the fact that I know that it wouldn't be enough at the end of the day. It would be just enough for the Ravens and Ravens fans, some of the Ravens fans, to be like, oh, you see what they did? They did something. They brought somebody in. They made a move at wide receiver, like you guys are all
You want
asking
a receiver? Here he is.
Yeah. They gave you exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'm not like, it doesn't get my nipples hard. I'll say that for sure. Definitely not.
I mean, for me, I've always wanted DJ Chark. I'm like a DJ Chark stan. I wanted him back when he was in Jacksonville. I'll keep saying it. He missed a couple of games last year. Still balled out with the Lions. Big body. I mean, Lazard, I think he had an underwhelming year. He got outperformed by Christian Watson, a second-round receiver out of a small school, out of FCS school. But I wouldn't sit here and I hate it. I'm right there with you. I tweeted it. We're going to sign Lazard and go for a 5th-round receiver and call it a day. That's the revamp. And that's what I am very worried about. At least we tried. I mean, when we signed Snead, Brown, and Crabtree, at least we had a small success. It wasn't premier by any means. But because we have Duvernay coming off of season-ending I word. Bateman, same thing. Prochet Wallace, don't know. May not even be on the team next year. So Demarcus Robinson, a free agent. To me, I still think you got to go for getting somebody, drafting somebody in early, whether it be first rounder, if you get a second rounder in the trade, and then maybe sign a guy, a tier 3 receiver. But yeah, King, I'm there. I want D Hop. If you got me D Hop, JSN, and a late receiver, I'd be happy. I'd be very happy with Bateman. So
Yeah. I mean, it just really comes down to the fact that if you do retain Lamar Jackson at quarterback, he quite literally deserves a proven commodity at the wide receiver spot. I mean, everybody else, all of his peers, his quarterback peers around the league, they have been granted that. And it's awarded them really, really, a high level of success. I mean, you can look at all the way from Josh Allen to Jalen Hurts. They all got premier wide receivers, and they all flourished, quite literally flourished after that happened. Lamar Jackson has not been awarded that yet, that opportunity, and I don't think it's fair. And that's another thing that, I really hope that Lamar Jackson is constantly bringing up in these negotiations. Like, look around us, guys. Like, look around us. All these successful teams, all these successful young quarterbacks, they benefit from having proven commodities at wide receiver, you know? And
yep.
I haven't gotten that for the most part. Love Bateman to death. Just worked out with him just last offseason. Hell, might work out with him again this offseason. But you got to get me somebody who's going to take us and elevate us to the next level on offense. And love Bateman, but we don't have time to let him develop.
Yeah,
Period.
no, and I think it's a lot of pressure on somebody. I mean, he knew he had to be that guy last year. All the pressure on him, doing his thing, gets hurt. I mean, and it was, and they tried to send him out there when he was already hurt. Like, we had him playing against the Buccaneers Thursday night, and then they rolled him out for the season. What, a week later, or something?
Right.
It was So, the whole revamp. Like, we need, and who knows with the money situation. So, fun times, very
fun
fun.
times.
Hey, it could be worse. I think I look at it. We could be Browns fans. So that's like bottom of the barrel. That's scraping bottom of the barrel.
For sure, we definitely could be Browns fans, but luckily we're not. Raven Ron here says Evans is 6'5" Make it happen. Yeah, I think we would both like Mike Evans. Yeah,
Evans or Hopkins, and I'm over the moon. Over the moon.
Just make that bro. The agenda is like sign Lamar, and then find a way to get DeAndre Hopkins and Mike Evans. I don't care what you got to do. Just find a way to make that shit happen. Like, because that's what's going to be, that's what's going to put us over the top. At least I think on offense.
Yeah, I think so too.
SG says here, just thinking about this now, what happens to Gus?
Definitely could be a trade candidate. Could be a cap candidate. I would like for us to keep him. But I think his future's in the air, unfortunately, just being honest.
Yeah.
I don't want him to leave, but
too many pieces coming up that have to be paid, of course, starting with Lamar. You could definitely say Gus is expendable, or the Ravens would say that, and they're just going to ride J.K. Dobbins. But
then one thing I do have a little bit of an issue with is the Ravens media team tweeting out, like, talking about running backs when your running back one literally just he was speaking out 2 months ago about how he wasn't used enough, how he doesn't have 15 carries in an NFL game or something like that. How in a playoff game you don't hand the ball off to him at the goal line. And I mean, getting a running back first round is asinine for this team. I'm sorry. I just don't see it. I think Dobbins is our one. I'm not opposing somebody late rounds, but just if you were to get somebody in the first round, riot might be happening in Owens Mills. I'm not. Fans would be very upset.
Yeah, because that just simply would not make any sense at all. Now, Alex, speaking of speaking out, I don't think me and you had talked since Rashad Bateman said what he said on Twitter.
We haven't. No, we haven't.
No,
this is fun. We're gonna get spicy.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows by now, but Rashad Bateman had come out on Twitter in response to something that Eric DeCosta said in the press conference, basically saying that, hey, look, like you have to keep us healthy and you also have to play us to our strengths. I thought that that was a shot at, the what's his name? Steve, what's his name? Saunders.
Saunders.
Yeah. I think it was a shot at him and also Greg Roman, because players weren't really played to their strengths in that Greg Roman offense.
Agreed.
But what did you think about what Rashad Bateman said, kind of firing back at EDC, kind of not at EDC, but yeah,
I'm right there with you. I definitely think him saying putting us in a position. I think that was a Roman, and like the whole health stuff that was Saunders. Uh, are we surprised another player calling out a Greg Roman offense? Let it. I mean, a receiver. It just added the list of how many guys have already called it out. And then I think it was a little bit towards EDC. EDC did big up Bateman. I watched the press conference. Oh, I listened to it. But then the whole, if I would have hit, I would have, we're going to keep drafting them or something like that. That comment could have better off unsaid, I think. But he said it. So I think Bateman, I just don't need him requesting a trade out of here because then what? Then what are we stuck with? With a bunch of everybody else's scraps. But that's been the Ravens receiving room for years now. I mean, signing Rashad Jackson, Des Bryant, the list goes on and on. But I'm there with you though. It was mainly towards Steve and Greg.
Let's see what you guys are thinking about here. So Jonathan Washington Jr. Don't fully agree with Bateman because we do need more talent in the wide receiver room, but he has a point. The players always get held accountable, but who holds the front office and coaching staff accountable?
The fans, just a certain part of the fans. And then when you do, you call it a fake fan or you call it a negative fan. When I just want my team to be competitive and winning playoff games and getting the Super Bowl. So that's who holds them accountable.
Dre says, I'm sorry, but Bateman was not wrong. Definitely not wrong. Definitely not wrong there. And I think that the main thing that probably triggered this response from Rashad Bateman was the fact that when Eric DeCosta was asked that question about drafting wide receivers, he said that, hey, if I had some better ideas for it, then we'd have some better receivers right now. Now, just put yourself in Rashad Bateman's shoes and just hearing that from your general manager, the guy who drafted you, who once you thought he had all the faith in the world in you. Yep. And now 2 years later saying like, hey, like if I was better at drafting receivers, I'd have some better receivers. So, that probably did sting a little bit.
But, I'm thinking of ways how you could have said it so much better. You could say, EDC, we have guys like Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay, a couple other young guys, and we're looking to add to them too. That's all you had to say. I think that's respectful. I think you're acknowledging what you have and then saying the young guys, a Wallace and a Prochet, once again, they could get cut. And then you're saying you want to add on to them. That answers the question. But him saying the whole, we're going to keep drafting.
Yeah.
Disarray.
And you know what's crazy? Like I don't have any recent history. And maybe you can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I don't have any recent history of, or not recent history, recent memory of a star player or any player at all publicly calling out his general manager on Twitter. That doesn't really happen.
Yannick Ngakoue. He wanted out of Jacksonville so bad.
I remember that.
He wanted to fight the Khan family. That's the only one I can think of.
I do remember that one. Yeah, I do remember that one. That one was
that got messy. Yeah. That was building up. This Bateman one was kind of out of the blue, to be honest.
Right. And it's definitely worrisome. I mean, and Bateman also threw in his tweet as well. He said, y'all got to stop blaming us and Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
So you can see the team is kind of behind Lamar as well when it comes to this whole negotiations and talks and things like that. They know that Lamar is the engine to that team. But the issue at the end of the day is Steve Bisciotti. Steve Bisciotti thinks that I'll put it like this. Steve Bisciotti thinks that the last 4 years of the Ravens' success has more to do with John Harbaugh than it does Lamar Jackson. And that's a problem. That's an issue. It is. And I'm just going to leave it there because I think that says enough. And it's an issue.
Yeah. The whole and just the offensive philosophy is an issue. I mean, we've already harped on this. We've talked about it many times before, so I won't get into that, but couldn't agree more.
Right. Let's see what you guys are saying here before we get into some questions for this episode. Raven Ron says, Harbs and EDC got to go. We need a culture change. Maybe Bisciotti too. Ravens never called out front office this much.
I think
Yeah.
this Lamar stuff is really hurting EDC. I think he's made some good moves. Drafts have been hit or miss. I think was it last year has a lot of potential, but at the same time, you got 3 picks in the first 45. It's hard to miss. I mean, having Kyle Hamilton fall to you,
Yeah.
bro, lucky. He was mocked at a number 4. I remember I thought he was going to be a top 5 pick. We were talking about it like, well, whoever gets Kyle Hamilton is getting a steal. We're at like 9, 10, 11. And then some of his other drafts haven't. I mean, I think the 2019 draft, I don't think anybody's left from that or might not be left from that one.
Right.
Unfortunately, changes might have to be made, but we'll find out a lot more in less than 24 hours. I'll tell you that, Raven Ron.
Yeah, for sure. Let me see. DWA says, I want us to draft Cam Smith out of South Carolina. What do you think, Alex?
At 22, I want a receiver. Cam Smith, I wouldn't mind defensive back, especially what happens with Marcus Peters. I wouldn't mind Joey Porter Jr. either, just kind of for the little saltiness back at the Steelers. That wouldn't suck. But yeah, I'm still draft is still so far away, but it's getting closer and closer. Like we just had the combine,
right?
Yeah.
Let me see. Tanja Bowman chiming in here says, Bashadi's old butt is feeling peer pressure around the league and about to lose his star quarterback. I mean, you kind of right about that. Now let's talk about this really quick, Alex. So she says that Bashadi, he's feeling pressure from around the league, and around the league means the other league owners. Now, the whole thing about guaranteed contracts, I'm sure the owners have kind of talked amongst themselves about that and kind of came to a collective agreement that, hey, we're not doing this. We're not adopting this, this way of going about contract talks and whatnot. So Lamar Jackson is standing firm. He's standing very firm on what he wants, fully guaranteed, if that is the case, or the percentage of fully guaranteed, whatever, what have you. But it just goes to show that, like, man, the NFL, especially the owners, it's a good old boys club for sure, and they definitely are talking, so it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if the Ravens threw the non-exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson, knowing that other teams are going to be available to talk to him, but also knowing that nobody's going to offer him a fully guaranteed deal, because Bashadi's already talked to the other owners. He's already talked to the owner of the Commanders. I mean, maybe, I don't know what Schneider's fielding calls right now, but the Falcons, Jets, Dolphins, all of them. I'm sure he's talked to all their owners and said, hey, look, if we put Lamar on this non-exclusive tag, you better not offer him a fully guaranteed deal. Like, we said we're not doing that, right? So I don't know. Maybe
they all look at the Browns. Look at the Browns are like looking at you. But going on that too, like our analogy here on the Purple Rain podcast, it's the country club, all sitting there, laid out, probably got the golf course in front of them, got the lemonade, got the little umbrella in the lemonade. Might be spiked if that's your preference. Don't know. And they're just sitting there.
Definitely spiked.
Yeah, just sitting there chatting. We definitely know Dan Snyder's is.
For sure.
Sitting there chatting about what's going on, and then the other, you have the NFLPA who is pushing for these fully guaranteed contracts, and they're the complete opposite. They're probably sitting there at a bar at the end. Could be at the end of the bar. Could be at the end. We're already there. We're at the. What's crazy? I wonder if that Joy Taylor was on the station at the front of the bar. Maybe Harbaugh saw it. Probably not. It was probably only shown at the end of the bar. You know.
Yeah.
They weren't watching those at the end of at the front of the bar. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great point you bring up about those owners. I mean, unless somebody pulls it and kind of stabs Bashadi in the back, which could happen, but I don't think so. But I definitely think somebody's willing to offer a lot more than we are. A team desperate, i.e. the Falcons. I mean, what cap? Who's taking up cap on the Falcons right now? Not many people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams are in a much better position to pay up a lot of money than we are right now, and that's the scary part. Yeah. But I mean, like you said, Harbs is definitely not at the end of the bar. Allegedly, he's at the front of the bar, and the bartender at the front of the bar, he's got Ravens 2012 Super Bowl highlights playing on nonstop repeat on a loop for Harbaugh, living off the good old days. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Guys, let's go ahead and get into some questions for this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Almost 90 people watching live right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Love you guys. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are enjoying the content that you are consuming currently. I'm going to kick it off with the questions. I want to ask you, Alex. I know you watched UFC this past weekend. I wanted to. Oh, we have a super chat donation.
Yes.
This one coming from D. Was making it rain here on this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Before I get into anything else, UFC talk, whatever. Thank you so much, D. Was. We appreciate you making it rain. And we're gonna leave this up here too.
Thank you.
But yeah. So, what was your favorite fight from this past weekend?
Okay. I need to pull it up. It was like in the first round, and it's not because of the fight. It was Gamrot, him when he beat
Gamrot, yeah.
It was his walkout song. He came out to John Bellion. Don't know if you know him. John Bellion is all I listened to in like high school. So like that was pretty cool. I was like, there's no way a UFC fighter is coming out to this, and I love that. So that kind of was my favorite one. But altogether, I think it was the co-main. Just I didn't know anything about it, but hearing how like she was like didn't lose for 5 years and then loses, that was pretty crazy. So I'll go with that one. I mean, John Bones Jones was just different.
Just phenomenal. Just phenomenal. I mean, I expected John Jones to win that fight. I would say that, but I did not expect for him to win it that easily. Like he just went in there and just took Ciryl Gane's soul. And listen, I said this a lot, like leading up to the fight. Ciryl Gane is not. He's not a savage. He's not a savage, and you kind of need that savage in you to be an MMA fighter, you know. And he just doesn't have that. So when he fights against guys like, I'm not sure if all you guys are familiar, like Tai Tuivasa, that was the fight that he had right before this one. He fought Derek Lewis as well. That's a bigger name. But those guys are like just kind of fat power punchers, right? And a guy like Ciryl Gane, who's kind of rangy and he's very fast and technical, he can beat up on those guys all day. So he had a pretty nice path to get to a title shot, and John Jones just shut all that shit down, man. I mean, it was just like, Ciryl Gane tried to throw one punch at John Jones, and John Jones was immediately at his hips, took him down, and Gane just kind of gave up. There was nothing he could do. There's literally nothing he can do. You can see the fear and just amazement in his eyes even after the fight. I don't know if you caught it, like after like the fight was over, after he tapped out, John Jones gets up, he starts walking to the other side of the cage. The angle that the camera was looking at, you could see Ciryl Gane sitting on the floor, like behind him. And he was just like looking up at John Jones like, this dude is a demon. Like he just did not know what just happened to him. It was crazy, man. John Jones is definitely the GOAT of the UFC. Some people might say like Khabib is the GOAT. Like he was undefeated too, but Khabib doesn't have nearly the, you know, just the resume. He doesn't have anything near the resume of John Jones. So, you know. Great. It was definitely a great night of fights. Do have a couple shout outs here. Want to give out in the chat. Our guys from the Lunch Break Hot Take here. What's going on, fellas? Appreciate y'all for coming through this episode. This a Rain Gang. Yeah, we standing strong. Let me see. We got our guy Engraven Videos in the house as well.
What's going on, Ingrid?
What's going on?
Stay strong, my guy. I'm rooting for you. Big time.
Is Engraven okay? Is there something that I missed?
Yeah, he got demonetized, unfortunately. YouTube playing those games. Yeah, playing those games. The whole video on it. I won't. He the whole video on it. A lot.
I gotta check it out.
YouTube definitely playing games. So, I know how it goes.
Demonetized. That doesn't even make sense. I mean, this guy has his own genuine opinions literally every day, posting them on YouTube. Like content. Own content. Like what? I don't. Yeah, I don't understand that.
Hashtag we stand with Engraven.
Yeah,
how about that?
For sure. Engraven says the hashtag Purple Punch podcast. Yeah, you know we like to cover some MMA on here every now and again. But yeah, phenomenal night of fights. Let's get into some other questions though. Yeah, I mean, Alex, drop your questions down below. I have another question for you, Alex. Did you happen to catch that Mavericks versus Suns game yesterday, the NBA game?
No, I was actually too busy watching Liverpool beat Man United 7-0 in a soccer game.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why I didn't watch it. I was enjoying that.
They put up a whole touchdown and an extra point on them. That's
But I saw at the end of what happened. Little disagreement between Luka and Booker. I like that rivalry though. I like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the thing was because Devin Booker, he's the type he's the type of guy to like talk trash to you like after he's already beaten you. You know what I mean? Like he won't talk trash and like go back and forth with you and
Yeah,
like, you're doing good and then he's doing good and it's like back and forth like from the competition. Like he only wants to like say some slick stuff after it's already all said and done. And
yeah.
some people might respect that more than others, but me personally, I don't. You know what
You
I mean?
talk.
Like, yeah. If you're
That's
gonna talk
why
trash, then just
there's guys who just talk. I mean, Pat Bev. I know he's one of them. He's on the Bulls now. I see him talks the whole game. But yeah, don't talk when you're up. Talk the whole game. Even yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I did. I saw what happened in the game, and that was kind of cool. Kyrie and KD going against each other. That they're just
yeah.
teammates early in the year.
Oh my goodness, there was a lot of really good buckets in that game, man. It was crazy. Let's see what other questions we have from you guys. All day Esco says, "How are you guys doing on a scale of 1 to 10?" That's a great question.
Great question.
Yeah.
This team is keeping me up above the water. I'm not gonna lie. Top of the league. Actually, crazy game. They were down 2-0. They won in the 97th minute. I literally, yeah.
Was
I'll
that
go.
the I'm sorry, I'm just before you give
Yeah,
your was that the game? Was it Saturday?
yeah.
It was Saturday. Was that the one with the guy? It was in the last minutes, and I think it was off the corner kick. No.
that was the one.
Yeah,
That
I remember that. He bounced it off his chest, gets the nice first touch, and then just strikes it into the. That was nice.
weak
I like
foot,
that.
left foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're right now. There's 12 games left, and if they pull it off, which I don't think they will, I'm definitely gonna be shedding some tears. To tell you that. But after that, probably like a 6.5, 7.
Mm.
Just yeah. What about you?
Okay. I mean, I'm feeling that too. I was gonna say a 7.5 to like a light 8. I would
Okay.
say.
Okay.
I think that the season is about to change soon, guys. Like
Yeah.
next month, we're gonna be, spring is rolling around. It's about to get warm again.
Big factor.
Um, like that's gonna be a big factor. Also, daylight savings time is starting up again this weekend. I want to say, and I think they're like doing it. It's like permanent now. So like, it's
Boom.
gonna be it's gonna be no more getting dark early, like ever. Like they're stopping that. So that's good. It's definitely gonna affect my mood.
Yeah.
Overall, 1 to 10, I say 7.5 to 8. Of course, nobody's life is perfect, but
Right.
we are here
Right.
every day, and
Yeah.
we
I'm
thank God
healthy.
for
That's
that.
why I can't.
Yeah,
I'm very healthy. So I
yeah,
can't get mad at that.
absolutely. DY says, who do you think is going to win Usman versus Edwards in 2 weeks? This is a good one. This is another really good question. I would probably go with Kamaru Usman in this one. I think that he is going to come out a man possessed, just feeling like he was robbed of his title. The last fight that he had with not Kamar Usman, last fight that Usman had with Edwards, he was winning pretty much the whole fight up until the last like 2 minutes when he got knocked out on flash KO. And it happens, it's mixed martial arts, it's fighting, that's what happens. But I got Usman coming out and just dominating him through and through. So yeah, give me Usman.
What he said. I'm piggybacking.
All right, let's see what other ones we have. Be More Ravens Gunny, thank you for joining the show. Bro says, if the Brownies follow through with building their dome, what is the likelihood anyone else in the AFC North follows suit? Interesting question here.
If we haven't adjusted to the new age of the offense, we ain't adjusting to a new age of a stadium. Just the Ravens. As for, I don't think either of their teams will. I think Acrisure, I always call it Heinz. I think it has too much, history. I mean, when you think of the Steelers, you think of that stadium, and even
Yeah.
Paul Brown too. Um, I know they are rivals. I do like what they do with their stadium, like the jungle is all around. I think that's a pretty cool tidbit with their stadium. I just can't see anybody else in the AFC North doing it. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about it right here, right now, Alex, and I'm just thinking like if playing in a dome gives your offense more of an advantage, because naturally, I mean, it kind of does, right?
yeah, yeah,
Why wouldn't every team just invest in a dome? Or maybe not even maybe not even a dome, or well, yeah, it would have to be a dome because you got to block the wind too pretty well. Yeah, so a dome, and they could
right.
all afford it. I don't know. I don't know.
One thing
Now,
I
yeah,
do like about like soccer stadiums is that the way they're built is they have like cover over the fans. So let's say it's snowing, it's raining, the fans are good. Here, good luck. I mean, there's a small part of M&T Bank where you'll be under, but if you go to M&T Bank during a rainy game, you're most likely about to get drenched the whole game.
Yeah.
You better get a poncho, or it's just going to be a wet, soggy day for you.
Yeah. And a wet day is not a good day.
Yeah.
Raven Ron says here, would y'all consider Derrick Henry if Lamar Jackson leaves? Since we have no QB, just be run first.
I'm imagining Lamar and Derrick Henry together. That'd be something.
I just don't want Derrick Henry to go to the Bills. That's what I don't want to happen. Because that sounds like a powerhouse right there. Like, yeah, you're not stopping that.
Yeah.
Josh Allen and Derrick Henry just running downhill on you? How do you stop that?
Send him in the NFC or something. Don't keep him in the AFC. Don't.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, if you think if Anthony Richardson fell to them, I mean, they did 11th pick. Titans do. That'd be. I mean, but they do have Malik Willis. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him because they benched him for Josh Jacobs in a winter go. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Titans.
Sold on him.
Yeah, the Titans are like the Titans are just a confusing team. If they were to trade him, give him the NFC somewhere. Just not in the AFC. I don't want to deal with him. He gives me headaches. And if they do trade him, we play the Titans this year, I'm pretty sure. So we wouldn't have to see him. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Exactly. Let me see. J Prime 235 here is, I guess, talking about the question we had before this about the dome, saying the city would have to pay for the dome. Interesting. Yeah.
Especially here, like, where would they even build it? In the city. I couldn't imagine.
Yeah. Let's see. Jonathan Washington Jr. says, Sutton, are the Bulls getting the number 1 pick? I don't know. To be honest with you, it's kind of up in the air for something like that right now. Now, if they do get the number 1 pick, you know who they're getting. They're getting Victor Wembanyama. Or whatever, however you pronounce his last name, which I'll be very interested to see how this kid does in the league. He's got a huge amount of hype around him right now. I mean, people are calling him like a unicorn, things like that. I mean, he's super tall, can put the ball on the floor, can do a lot of things. So if the Bulls do get that number 1 pick and they end up drafting him, that'd be interesting, but we got to wait and see. Who knows?
Pro gambling tip, always pick against the Bulls. Tell you that. Coming from a Bulls fan. Always pick against them.
Let's see. I got Huddled Up Films. Jason from Huddled Up Films is here. What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for coming through. Football is family. And my guy Jason, he was checking up on me. I injured my shoulder. My shoulder in the gym not too long ago.
It's hit us.
Yeah, I know.
Steve Saunders, you will pay for your sins.
Exactly, bro. It's even trickling down to the fan base. It's that bad. But yeah, he checked up on me, and I appreciate you, bro. I'm doing a lot better now.
Doing good.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear.
Let's see. We'll take a couple more before we get out of here. For
no
this
IR
episode.
stint? No, are you?
Oh no, I'm good. Yeah. Let's see. SG says favorite prospect in the draft, Alex.
I haven't gotten too deep into it. Gosh, it's gonna change so much. Oh my gosh. Like, give me one of the Maryland defensive backs that ran like that insane 40-yard dash. I shouldn't fall in love with that, but kind of hope. I want the Ravens to get somebody from UMD, and they have receiver and DBs. We have a need. It's about time we go down the street and look at one of them. But ask me this in about a month, and I'll have an actual name for you.
Facts. That's for sure. Let's see. Raven Ron says, from a gambling degenerate, always bet against the Warriors on the road. They're 7-24. Get that money.
And especially now, NCAA, I know my former school, Towson, they're in the semifinals, the CAA. They play in 30 minutes. Definitely didn't bet on them. Definitely didn't. They're probably going to lose, but why not? They were playing a team that was ranked, I think, number 18, College of Charleston, at one point this year, and they're 0-2 against them this year. But I'm like, it's March. Anything can happen.
So. Anything, literally. Let's see. We'll go ahead and round it out with this one. This one I see from, I don't know if it's going to let me bring it up on the screen. I can just, there we go. Mayo's COD channel says, question, how poor is Bishotti that he won't give Lamar $250 fully guaranteed and a $300 million contract? Definitely not poor. I don't. Yeah, he's not giving him $250 million guaranteed. That's just not gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, like I said before, I don't know if you guys were all in here when I said this, but Bishotti, he thinks that the most recent Ravens success the past 4 years has more to do with John Harbaugh than it does Lamar Jackson. This really just comes down to that, because if that weren't the case, then Lamar would be paid by now. He would have already made Lamar Jackson an offer that he couldn't refuse at least like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So, yeah.
And I think also too, I think the offensive coordinator the change was a little too late. Personally, should have happened a year or two ago. I just that I would have. I hate that I'm talking this way, but I would have loved to see him under a different coordinator. I hate that I'm saying that, because that could be the sad truth of something that we truly are saying in a couple of months. But who knows? And I don't want that to be one of the, what ifs that we always go back to. But what if?
What if? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain podcast. Thank you guys so much for coming out to this episode 156. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. You can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain podcast, just like you see down below. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Sutton Def. And remember, guys, I need you guys to DM me all draft prospects that you're interested in.
Yeah.
I want to look these guys up. A couple of you guys did already. I appreciate you guys, but I need more. So send them through. You can follow this guy on Twitter or Instagram. Twitter at SimplyAS10. On Instagram at SimplyAS10.prod. And make sure you go ahead and subscribe to him on YouTube as well at SimplyAS10. You guys already know what to do there. And last but not least, make sure our sponsor, Manscaped, has to get a little love too. You already know what it is, man. You can go on manscaped.com, get whatever it is that you want, right? Get the right tools for the toolbox. You can put them all in what they call the shed, a wonderful little bag for travel, wonderful material. We love it here at Purple Rain Podcast. So you can go on manscaped.com, use our code PRP, get yourself 20% off, plus free shipping.
The kicker.
With that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Thank you for coming through to episode 156. Tomorrow should be a fun day. Very fun.
Yeah.
And as always, stay positive, test negative, and
never, ever, ever forget to call God. Just like SG says here. We're going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.